Hey man, it's your boy Marlo in the mix, the most lit in the 206. Now watch this, watch this, watch this. So, last time I talked about networking, I talked about part one. Appreciate y'all for tapping in, whoever tapped in. You know what I'm saying? Even if you watched, didn't even leave a like. Even if you watching again, you know what I'm saying? This is essential for everybody. So, listen, when it comes to networking, part two, another thing you gotta understand is not everybody's gonna be liked by everybody. So what I mean by that is when you're talking to certain people and you're trying to network with them and you tell them your story, they might not be interested in it, but the thing about it is you talk to one person, that person's with somebody probably already listening to your story too. They might also be intrigued. So it's always important just to tell them your story as it is and don't fabricate it, because later on in life, when you are dealing with those people will keep you somewhat, I wouldn't even say accountable, but they'll keep a certain image in your head when they want you to be out there for certain projects, for certain things. You got to uphold who you are, because you're going to fit that mold of what they're looking for in you because of what you present to them, if that makes sense, you know. So if you're a person that's like a chatty patty, if you're a person that, like, when you're talking to somebody, you spilling tea, a lot of tea, you know what I mean? They're gonna understand you're that type of messy person, so they're not gonna bring you out to certain opportunities or certain things where you're gonna end up explaining or talking about what happened at that event because you're chatty patty. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what type of event it is, you know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with Hollywood, you definitely got to be careful. When you're dealing with those type of entities, you definitely got to be careful. You can't just be telling people everything that went on at an event. You know what I mean? It's just a lot going on. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful with that. Number two, you got to, when it comes to networking, it's all about your presentation as well. So there's something I didn't talk about in the last one. This is why it's part two. Your presentation, your looks, your everything. You know what I mean? You got to look the part. And when it comes to looking the part, you got to make sure that, like, listen, if you know you one of them type of dudes that that dress a certain way everywhere, like you don't switch up your fit, like you're like, man, this is me, this is blah, blah, blah. Like you're gonna have a problem getting into certain events, certain being around certain people, circles of people. Now, obviously, if you're a rapper, I kind of understand it more because, like, if you're a rapper, you're gonna uphold a certain image. But when you go to these, like, when you're trying to do business, like actual business, not even just rap business, but you're trying to invest your money into something like, you know, whether you're into stocks, if you're trying to invest. I mean, obviously, okay, let me get this right. You can invest your money into stocks, wear what you're wearing, but when you're going to certain events where you're with other big entities that invest big money in these stocks and stuff like that, big money in real estate, them type of wealth cons and stuff, you want to make sure you dress the part, you know, suit, tie, slacks, you know what I'm saying? I mean, at least, like, if you, like, a high scale club outfit, you know what I mean? And y'all know what I'm saying? Turtleneck. Turtleneck is really a cheat code. You could do turtleneck, you know what I'm saying? Turtleneck, nice little jacket. Or if you just want to do the turtleneck, because some people don't, you know, you just do a nice little turtleneck, you know, color pants to match the turtleneck color. Some people like to offset the color, you know, make sure you guys know your colors when you're dressing up. Now, this is important in networking because if you are able to successfully make the transition to wearing wearing clothes that make you, that show you, are like your understanding of the you're blending in, with what's going on, because everyone else that's going to these wealth events, WealthCon, it's they gonna dress a certain way, you know what I mean? So it's gonna make people feel more at ease that you kind of are understanding of the assignment. That's very important. Something I'm working on right now, which I'm getting better at, you know, getting in that gym, you know, that's very important in networking too, because that's gonna up your chances, right? A lot of people don't understand your look, actually, your actual physical look, right? It's not gonna tell somebody how much money you have, but it's gonna tell somebody how you look at yourself as Superman, you know what I'm saying? So that's you know, that's my current transformation I'm on right now. But you got to still make sure that you network with people talk to people on the daily, like I said on the last vlog. And yeah, your looks is gonna be, it's gonna be somewhat important, you know what I'm saying? Presentability. I think also learning about culture as well. So for example, if you are going to an event and they're talking about trading, you know what I'm saying, which is very important to learn. It's a very good skill set to learn. You gotta look up stuff on trading before you go to these events. So now that this is talking about now when you're at those events, an event that you're going to where they're talking about business, try to look up some things based on the type of event you're going to before you get there, because you don't want to go there just to only learn stuff, but you also want to go there with a certain determination that you actually are trying to get on top of your shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people go into events, networking events, and they say, "Oh yeah, my friend just told me to come through." I don't know. So you don't know nothing about the host of the event. You know nothing about the purpose of the event. It's gonna make people feel like you just want a straight up handout. And as a man, you don't want to ever feel like, you know what I'm saying, that you just need handouts. You know, you want to make sure that you at least put your best foot forward into gaining the knowledge and seeking the knowledge, because a lot of times they sell in this, right? A lot of times they sell in this knowledge anyway. So if you're able to get into an event where you don't have to spend that much, or you don't have to spend nothing at all, you might as well take the most advantage out of it, you know. So that's very important with networking. Yeah, so you just want to make sure that you on top of your shit, you know. Like I said, I'm doing this shit off the dome, but this is for y'all because this is how I get into anything, you know what I'm saying, into any type of event I want to. First of all, my resume is pretty good, you know, work like different types of jobs. My actual career resume, dancing resume, stuff like that, that's really good as far as the people who I've been with, been around, learned from. So now, and then also what's important too, now this comes to more of business networking now I'm talking about, is when you are networking with people, you want to make sure that you have a portfolio or some sort of compilation, right? And there's some people that's crazy, because there's people that know what a portfolio is, there's people that don't know what a portfolio is, but they know what a compilation is. Now basically the compilation, if you do some sort of content that's visual, you want to make sure you put your best content in that compilation. You know what I'm saying? You're like your best, whatever your best is. You also want to make sure that when it comes to content, you make sure the quality of it is pretty good, because a lot of times with these events, like if your quality is pretty bad, you only get one shot to really make an impression. So you want to make sure that you have your compilation of stuff that shows your skill set. And again, this is very important with networking, because you have to tell your story when you network. So your story is being told in this compilation or this portfolio. Also, depending on what type of business you have, when you network, you want to make sure that you have business cards. You want to make sure that on your Instagram or whatever social media platform you use, you have a link tree that basically links people to everything you got going on, you know. Now I do come from the era where it's just like you really kind of did a lot more speaking, and you might have, you know, a business, like the business card era was a thing that had like everything, you know, but the video stuff wasn't really as prominent back then. Yeah, we did have YouTube back then. Yeah, we did have videos and stuff like that, but a lot of it was more you were talking first, and you had a business card and you had paperwork showing your projects, you know what I'm saying, like the actual binder, you know, showing like the stuff that you actually did. Now everything's on the phone. Now you have a QR code, you know. So luckily, me being in both eras, you know, old generation, new generation, I can kind of make that transition. But for the average person, you just need to, if you're going to network somewhere in business, you got to make sure that you do your research on the place. You know, look up the place, look up the people, look up their Instagrams, look up the other social media. I kind of do this on the daily anyways, like when I look stuff up, so that way I know going into it. Like if I'm working with a certain artist, I'm gonna go on their Instagram, I'm gonna go on their pages, I'm gonna check some recent news about them, you know, check their reputation, You know, you can only check so much about that, right? But it's good to know that going into an event, just to make sure that you kind of have an idea of what you're walking yourself into. Um, Try not to, now this is my advice when networking. When you go to private events, you got to kind of do the same thing. You got to, what I do is I'll see a private event, I'll see it's ran by somebody. I'll go to that person's Instagram page, social media page. I'll see if any of my people are following them. And if I'm really kind of like worried or kind of iffy about it, I'm going to ask one of my homies about, hey, you know this person, you know their reputation. Have you been to their events? You like their events, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I'll be able to make a good judgment. You gotta make sure that you go down the line of things. Like, you got to make sure that everything that's connected to that event, if you're kind of worried about it, you look up everything that's connected to it, the people connected to it. How many events have they had? Is this their first event? You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the other part of networking, because now when you do get to these places, you know how to act, you know how to code switch, you know. I feel like I need to do another video on this, because there's a lot more that goes into networking, but I kind of gave y'all a part 2, more extensive, kind of more of a business side of the networking, and also your look, your image, and stuff like that. So make sure, man, if y'all like this video, if you want to see more of it, make sure y'all follow me, man. It's Mal in the Mix, man. The most lit in 206. Now watch this, watch this, watch this.